by Cardano, ADA, and Algo. These are quantum security keys which are going to take off in at least the next 2 to 5 years, taking over Bitcoin, and I'll get into how I know that comes from the astrology, but there's a lot more to it than that. Let me explain. The astrology gives guidance, not just predictions, and the guidance comes from what we call lunar mansions. The mansions tells me which transits to look for or which planets to track. So if you're an astrology enthusiast, you're going to have to go with me very quickly here. This is not for beginners. And if you're into crypto investing, then this should help you understand why things happen the way they happen, and also to guide you in investments. This is not advice, this is just understanding of the energy. The biggest energy we have in January is the 13th, where we have a full moon in the emotional house of Cancer. Cancer itself is the home, and it's about protection of the home, and full moon is extremely volatile type of, well, not extremely volatile, but it's a very emotional time. Lots of things are found out, secrets come to light, revelations, and of course arguments. The full moon itself is sitting under the sky of Atraf, or the mansion of Atraf. This is like the house for the moon itself. And Al-Atraf is also called Aziz by Ibn Arabi. Both of these provide us with clarity and protection in our investments. So there's key themes: Cancer, Atraf, and Aziz. Protection of your money. Incidentally, January 13th as well, look at that, the numerology. 1 and 3 brings you to 4. Again, the home of Cancer, or the house of Cancer, the home. So, the tarot card at this decan where the full moon sits at is the Four of Cups. Now, I don't have the card with me here to show you, but the Four of Cups is basically like a person who has all the treasure next to him, but he's looking out the window at what he doesn't have. So this is a reminder to stay grateful, even amongst the challenges that might be facing now. And so to reflect on your emotional and your material stability too. The mansion, I said before, Atraf, and the Manzil, Aziz. Aziz itself means precious metals. So there's a hint there as to where we should be investing our money. I'll tell you now, it's gold. But anyway, there's more to it than that. We'll come to that later. The fixed star, which is basically one of the deepest stars in that mansion, the most strongest star, and it's aligned with the moon, is called Procyon at 25 degrees. So that encourages very swift and decisive action, but it also warns us of taking quick, rash decisions driven by fear, and there's going to be a lot of that fear because of what's going on in the full moon. Transits by Mars and Saturn, which I'm going to get into in a second. But before that, the stuff that nobody ever talks about. If you go even higher than the fixed star and the mansions, you get to the symbolism of the guidance that we are supposed to take to be able to navigate all this drama that's unfolding. Because all I've done so far is just understand the script. I've not understood the hints that might come from God, essentially, to guide us, and that could be through synchronicities and things that come up in your life. And so the letter Jim here, the letter Jim is, in Arabic, a symbol which gives us balanced communication, and that balanced communication is essential for being able to navigate times when markets are emotional and volatile. The Al-Huruf number as well, there's a letter and there's a number. The Al-Huruf number here in this mansion is number 3. That's a huge spiritual number, but here what it means is, I'm not going to get into the all airy-fairy stuff. This is more to do with what we want to manifest from our thoughts. So we know from letter G we're going to be balancing our communication. Before that, we're going to be intensely focused from Procyon in making decisions. And we're going to be doing that according to Aziz and Atraf Mansions about protecting our wealth, particularly getting a focus into the precious metals. And the Four of Cups is to say, be grateful for what you've got amongst all this volatility. That brings me now to understand what's actually going to happen and how letter G and the number 3 are going to come together to help us take our thoughts and manifest them with balanced communication, okay? And that's going to bring us to make the wisest decisions during all this time. So what's going to happen? As I said before, the mansions are ruled by Mars transits and Saturn transits. So this is a real power play. Mars is action and Saturn is discipline. Where Mars is volatile, Saturn is stability. Mars itself is retrograde in Cancer throughout December into January. Mars retrograde is a type of energy where the drive and the pushing forward slows down, and we're now in analysis mode and we're strategizing. That strategy energy is opposing the current position of Pluto. Now, you know that Pluto is a transformative energy and it's in Aquarius, it's just started, so it's transforming technology like mad. As you can see, all the AI companies that are coming out now, and even AI agencies and AI employees. So this aspect of the full moon this is not actually going to be happening at the full moon. This Mars retrograde starts in the new moon, actually, on 30th of December, and then it continues through to the full moon. So the opposition tells us that there's going to be a power struggle, and there's going to be some volatility that's going to spark in the beginning of the month. Mars opposing not only Pluto here, but it's also opposing Bitcoin's natal chart of Jupiter, the position of Jupiter. Jupiter likes to expand, but Bitcoin's Jupiter is being told by Mars to effectively have a fight, right? So Mars doesn't want Jupiter to expand. It's going to have an impact on Bitcoin's prices. It's going to make it drop, essentially. There's going to be significant sell-offs because of this drop in price. People are worrying that that it's never going to go back to 100k. It will. But because of Mars challenging the stability, we're going to have people getting emotional and people selling off their crypto, wanting to take advantage of the near 100k mark that Bitcoin has now reached. So you can see how this builds up. At the beginning of the month, it opposes Pluto and takes on the regulators, the institutions and the regulators in America and in UK and other places will be coming down hard on the volatility, but they won't show their hand until the full moon, and that's when Mars is also going to hit the prices. The prices are going to be volatile there as well. So if we understand more about the energy of Saturn, then we'll understand what's going to happen with the regulations and the taxes. Now, Saturn at the beginning of the month, in January the 1st, Saturn is square Mercury, and it's also square Jupiter at the same time. Saturn square Mercury. Mercury is in Sagittarius, so the Mercury is the agent of commerce, it's the agent of communication. In Sagittarius, it's direct communication and it's good commerce, but Saturn is telling it to stop. Jupiter in Gemini. Jupiter likes to expand. What is it touching? The house of Gemini. Gemini is the two hands, the two-faced, and rumors. So it enhances rumors around Bitcoin, the news, what's going on in terms of the prices, what's going on in terms of the regulations. Saturn comes along and says, right, shush. We're going to bring out some regulations. We're going to bring out some changes, but not right now. There's a delay because of the square. Also miscommunications. But tension in the global markets. And so people are not going to be too optimistic in the first week or two. By the time we get to the full moon, sell-offs markets, prices start jumping up and down. Well, will be jumping up and down, but there will be a lot of people worried about the falling price of Bitcoin by the full moon. It will stabilize. It will come back up to the 100k mark later on. We'll get into that. One thing to watch out for is Venus conjunct Neptune. Neptune is this illusion and fog that comes about in our minds. That, oh yeah, I can do something. I can fly. Basically, that kind of an energy. I can fly. And Neptune sitting in Pisces is this dreamy, enhanced dreaminess. Neptune is this illusions, the fog. Pisces is it's the same thing. It's the house of spirituality. It's and enhanced knowledge. So we're going to be thinking as if we can do more than we can possibly do. Venus conjunct all this is going to make it romanticized, a dreamy yet deceptive alignment. But Venus itself highlights the creative and inspirational assets. So you have NFTs are going to come back into the focus, and DeFi projects as well, particularly in Ethereum. But we've got to be careful there, because it might just be illusions and talk in the market. Don't go out there and just spend all your money on it. Watch for the volatility, because Ethereum is also going to be affected by the volatility. There's going to be drops in Ethereum, but it's not going to be as excessive as Bitcoin. Ethereum will, as it is at the moment at about 3.5k, is dropping down to about 3, but it's going to then stabilize in the middle somewhere. So what does that mean when it comes to Venus? Venus is also long-term wealth. And now we know with Aziz that we're talking about precious metals. So gold is a safe haven asset right now that benefits as well from Neptune's energy, and it appeals to people who are more cautious and want to be in it for the long term. The takeaway is to stay grounded and don't get swept away by speculative hype. So don't panic, in other words, during that full moon, because after that full moon, prices are going to stabilize. But people are going to make emotional decisions which will lead to regrettable outcomes. So you got to use the reflective energy of the moon, the mansions, to reassess and to strategize. That's a big thing in January, is to take advantage of the energy. You would be good to strategize for. What will be happening in the second half of the year is the transits, where there's another tug of war going on with Jupiter and Pluto, and that'll last for about 6 months. At that point, whatever you strategize for now is going to have a big impact on your wealth in the second half. So be careful. Like I said, Bitcoin's price has already crossed the $100k mark, and it will cross it again, but only after the sell-offs have been triggered. And the combination of the regulations and tax announcements, which will come towards the middle and end of the month, or even something around security issues with Bitcoin being a threat of their security keys being hacked by new quantum computers such as Google's latest chip. That might cause worry as well, cause more sell-offs and people losing hope. But this will come back around, because the regulators and the institutions and the governments are basically going to introduce safety nets. And that will bring people back into the market, or people will be thinking, why the hell did I sell? Why did I panic? But this is the reason. You know now it's the full moon and all the other energy I talked about. So don't be one of them. Don't be vulnerable buying or selling at the wrong time. Watch also for, like I said, the quantum emergency recovery QER, or security keys for crypto. This is coming out more and more. I'm seeing more and more of these companies selling or advertising their products. Pluto and Aquarius is what's emphasizing the technological innovation right now. So discussions around quantum secure blockchain and the recovery methods and keys could be emerging even more. But on top of that, there's also in the background developments in the Arab world, where Saudi is thinking about bringing a Halal crypto into their markets, and that's a huge, I think it's $2 billion market. It could be more. So, as Saudi explores crypto options that aligns with Sharia principles, who knows what Sharia is anyway, we never agree with that or agree on it. But pay attention to those announcements because that might also be up for uh, January's volatility, and maybe that's what brings people back into the crypto world. Maybe that's what also actually stabilizes the market towards the end of the month. We'll have to see how that plays out. But when it does play out, I'll be back February for February's crypto astrology forecast.